Evening, folks. Thanks for coming in. Hope you're all safe and well, and welcome to our fourth show of our four in a row, last show. And there's no better way to round it off with a bit of fresh meat that way. A fresh victim. Sorry, a new guest. Say a new guest, that's better. So tonight we are welcoming along Sam from Sam Walks a Lot. Sam is on YouTube and she's a paranormal investigator, history buff, explorer. She's a lot of things, you know.
I do a lot of things, yeah.
We were meant to have her on a couple of weeks ago, but we had to unfortunately postpone. But we've got her tonight, at last. So thanks very much for coming in, Sam. And it's really good to see you camera to camera.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very excited about this.
I say I've watched quite a few of your videos, and it's actually, I mean, we've done a lot of these shows, and a lot of guests I've watched on YouTube or Facebook, whatever. But when you actually get them on the panel, it can be quite weird sometimes because you're actually talking to the person, you know.
Yes.
As I say, I was watching a couple of your videos this afternoon, so you're sitting here thinking, I was watching you this afternoon. I'm talking to you tonight, but it's good to have you on. But I'm going to just start with, if you tell us a wee bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so I'm Italian. I've been living in England for almost 25 years. And I do have a full-time job. I'm actually a software engineer. But I love walking, and I've been loving walking since I was really young. And the same thing goes for photography. So, whenever I used to go for walks and have a look around and always take my camera with me. I remember stealing my dad's camera when I was 11, something like that. I had my own camera at 12 because I used to steal my dad's camera. And a few years ago, I amped up my walking a little bit more. But I wanted to share my walks. And I thought that, it's kind of been at the back of my mind for a few years already. I think I signed up for a channel in YouTube in 2011, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have a vision. So one day I went to Cheddar Gorge and I thought, right, I had the little tripod. I said, right, I'm going to film myself and see how it goes. And I haven't stopped. And I think that is one of the main thing is that once you get started, if you continue, it kind of works. And that is basically it. I realized that my videos have started taking a different turn than just walking, because if I don't find them interesting, people won't find them interesting, right? So I started visiting some places that had a little bit of history in there. I didn't really consider myself a storyteller, but I kind of learned, video after video. And then, I do like spooky stuff. I'm a horror fan. I like gory stuff. Things like that.
What, you like blood and guts? That's the same as me. I'm a blood and guts man. There's wee Eileen's in from Phantom Seekers Paranormal.
Yeah.
And Laura as well. She's one of ours. She says she's in the corner. She's more or less family. I hate to admit it on a live, but I know she's watching. But she's a good soul.
Is, yeah.
And Craig, her husband, he's got an offer for HNC photography. He's not at uni. He's at college doing his filmmaking and photography. So the two of you are the kind of the same line of work, basically. But no, I know you mean, when you're out and you start off, you say you were never much a storyteller, but you learned.
Yes.
When we first started out, some of your first videos were just disgusting, but a mess, basically, And but I think as time goes on, you do get a kind of knack for it, and the more you enjoy it, the better you become. And a lot of people Sarah, my partner, she's quite camera shy. But over the sort of years we've been doing this, Laura as well, she's quite good with the camera now as well. It just takes time.
It does, absolutely. And I was not a camera person myself, I swear. And oh my gosh, I remember the first time I had to edit my first video. It was a nightmare. I could not stand looking at myself and listen to what I was saying. It was like, but you get used to it. You get past that. You know, it doesn't kill you, right? You just get used to. You just get used to it.
I hate the sound of my own voice. Oscar,
Yeah.
that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. I'll take it to the grave view. I'll see you tomorrow, Laura. Though. You'll learn quickly with experience. You do controlling those giggles well, Sam. Mark West.
Controlling those giggles.
I mean, when you first start out in this, I don't know what I call it, a business or no, doing this kind of thing. I mean, the very first live Sarah and I done, I was using a phone, you know, and earplugs, and it wasn't until after we'd done it. I think it was on Mediums, if I remember right. But I watched it back, even though I hated my own voice. I watched it back, and I realised that for about 3/4 of it, all people could see was up my nose because the way I was holding the phone. You know, the phone was kind of like down here sort of thing, and you're learning, but you don't, because you've never done it before.
Yeah.
You know, and then as you watch it back, you think, no, that's, you know, you can see up my nostrils. It's not a pretty sight of a lad. But as Eileen says there, you learn quickly with experience. The more you do it, you develop your own style, I think.
I think so, yeah. And even when you say that you don't like the sound of your voice, I don't like the sound of my voice either. But when you go and edit for hours and hours and hours, listening to yourself, saying the same thing over and over again, you just get, you just get so used to it that you don't pay attention to it anymore.
I'll never get used to it.
Oh, you would. If you were spending hours doing that, you would.
Oh no, we've done it. We're working on what we call the Wallace Tree. We've done 4 episodes with Sarah and Laurie. They sort of put it together. I'm called the director, you know, big title, but we sit here and they do all the editing. Basically, Sarah does most of it, and Laura gives her advice on that. And so you're kind of listening to yourself, you know, because you know you're putting it together, so you need to listen over and over again. And sometimes you just cringe. You're like, oh, do I really sound like that? But when you're actually talking, you don't sound like that. It's when you listen back, you think, God, that sounds awful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always try to put an easy to understand, simple storytelling approach on location, makes it fun. And I can't pronounce that word, but that's what Eileen says at the end.
But it is absolutely true. As I said, if I get bored with what I'm saying, that cannot be good because people that are watching cannot be, I'm not going to enjoy that. So, yeah.
You say, you get bored with what you say. You already know what you're saying, but, so you know what's coming.
Yeah.
But people watching it don't. Laura says, let's not talk about editing. I sit there so you and Sarah don't argue and make tea. Sarah and I will have had a couple of arguments because, yourself, Sam, you film something and you've got the image in your head how you want it to be. Yeah. And then so Sarah sits down and it does take, I didn't realise it took as long, but obviously, granted, it does take quite some time. And then you watch it back and you think, no, that's really no how.
Well, just the other day, I think it was yesterday, I had the video from Clapham Wood coming out. I loaded it. It was ready for 8 o'clock last night. I went to pick up my daughter somewhere, come back, and it's like, I don't like that. I'm going to get the video down. I'm going to change it, and then I'm going to put it back on. It's one of those things.
It does take time, and, we've watched some of it after we put an episode of Wallace, so they go and watch it back, and I'll say to Sarah, can we tweak that, and can we move that to here and see some of the death looks that I get? Laura will tell you that some of the death looks I get off of Sarah. I say, because in my mind, we take, we can just move that to there, job done. But obviously there's a lot more to it than just moving a wee bit of footage over and over. But I mean, the story that's, as I say, I found you on YouTube, and I watched a lot of paranormal channels and stuff. No disrespect to them, but I found yours really interesting because I don't mean this to be cheeky. They're no elaborate or anything.
No.
You know, you get some of these channels out there that try to put the big Hollywood swing on things and stuff like that, and they may be in a woods in Pendle Hill or something. You know, some are just plain and simple. But your videos are very down to earth.
Yeah.
You know, and
well, I'm me. I'm like
that's
this.
it.
Unfortunately, that's who I am.
That's the best way to be. Just I've spoken this in many a show. You just be yourself.
Yeah.
You know yourself. There's people out there that try to be all these big stars and all the, you know, I'm the best guy in the paranormal and all that kind of bollocks. But at the end of the day, people don't want that. I think people said enough of that. People just want somebody to be themselves. If somebody goes out and films something and they make a mess of it, then people like to see that. You know.
And the problem is that if you are not yourself, I think that people at some point are going to catch on that and not enjoy it. And I'm not very much into sensationalism. As I said, this is me, right? I go for walks. I love walking. I get muddy. I like history. I like mystery. So I used to call it history, mystery, and spooky, because those are the three things I actually like. And I just go along. My preparation isn't always the best, so sometimes I go and then I change my mind. I see how the place is. I say, well, I'm gonna change this and do all these things, because, as I said, if I don't like it, and unfortunately, I cannot fake it. So if I don't like it, you'll be definitely able to tell that I don't like it.
But that's the best way to be. You just chat to cameras if you're talking in person with friends in the pub. Laura's saying hello to Eileen, and Eileen saying, "Oh, good, Laura." But that's it. Just be yourself. Nobody wants to see somebody try to be something, because people can see right through that.
Right.
You know, and especially people that know you. You know, if they know you in person or whatever, and you say, well, he's nothing like that in real life. You know, he's just putting on this big act. But, I mean, people know I'm down to earth, I'm straightforward, I speak my mind. And if people don't like it, they can jog on, basically. You know. And
I'm exactly the same on that. I listen to criticism, because if there's something there and I agree with it, then maybe there's an action point for me, you know. But if some people are criticizing what I do and they don't like it, like it happened the other day, and if Mark is still there, he actually had my back, and someone said, well, there's too much of you on camera. So, listen, you don't have to watch it, okay? Just go.
That's totally. I love mysteries. My favourite is the Yuba County Five and the disappearance of Maura Murray. I love Sam's channel, so down to earth and more important. It's very down to earth.
Mark.
You know, and problem I have is the mouth says it before it hits the brain. Aye, sometimes it comes out with Laura, but it's not in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? But no, that's it. I mean, we've been criticised in the past, same as yourself, Sam. And at the end of the day, you're never going to please everybody. There's always going to be somebody or a group of people out there that don't like what you're doing, don't agree with what you're doing, or whatever it may be. Somebody will find fault somewhere and say, well, listen to the complaint or their criticism, whatever you want to call it, and say, right, well, I appreciate your input, but this is what I do. And there are plenty of other channels out there you can watch. If you don't like what we do, then fair enough.
I don't even bother answering, to be honest, because those people usually are just there to vent. And at the end of the day, it's not my problem and it's theirs. So why should I waste my time? Okay, the other day I just had a moment that I found it funny, so I just replied. But it's I don't see the point in giving out my energy to people that are inconsequential. Who cares? I don't know who you are, but I don't care.
I just
leave
move
the
on.
space for someone that actually cares and
I
wants to
mean,
watch
just
my videos.
move on to another channel. I'll be honest with you. I've been watching you. I don't know, quite some time now. That sounds bad. I've been watching you. I've been watching your channel quite some time now, and it was only. I think the other thing that caught my eye was the name of your channel, Sam Walks a Lot. And it was only maybe last week, the week before, that I finally clicked on where the title came from. Because you do it. I'll make myself sound really dumb here now, but however, that's why she's called her channel that, because she does a lot of walking. But
I do. I actually I had a different name, and that was my Twitter handle back in the days. And I remember meeting up, sending messages out to my friends and said, right, I got Sam Walks a Lot, Sam, I can't remember, Sam's Walks. They just come up with stuff. And I said, you know what, it's going to be Sam Walks a Lot. And even if the channel could be called something else, I decided that it's kind of like my brand name, so I'm not going to change it. And I do walk a lot.
you do. You fairly put in the miles. I say all the time, Sam, I don't do things to please others. I do it to please me. You don't like it, it's not a Laura problem.
Exactly.
Which is true enough. I would make it, thinking up a name for your channel or something is. I mean, when Sarah and I first started Paranormal History, Sarah I'm the kind of paranormal side. Sarah loves her history. So there was only 2 A's when we started it, and thought, well, what can we call it? And I went through quite a few different names. I don't know, and I thought, well, why don't we just call it Paranormal in History?
Yeah.
And thought, it's plain, it's simple, it's basically what we do. So, which is where we're at, and we've kept it. Obviously, we've kept it ever since. But there are some channels and groups out there that get really weird names. You think, how the hell did you come up? Was that named after your granny's granny or something? What? Is that something your granny used to wear or something that you're calling your group? But that's their choice, their group. You know what I mean? But moving on to your videos now, you've been all over the place.
I got a question first for you.
Well, you're questioning me.
And it is a question that I ask everybody that starts following me, and it's like, which one was your first video? Do you remember?
I don't actually. I've watched that many of your videos. I don't know the first one. I don't have a clue.
Okay. That's okay. You can think about it.
That's a good question, actually. I can't remember the first one I watched to you. Oh, I think it was it a Welsh one? No.
Clydach Gorge? The one in the gorge where I banged my head and I got a dent here.
A big tunnel. That may have been it.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's
I wanted that. I was that tunnel. I wanted to get in that tunnel.
I wasn't brave enough to go further down that tunnel, but it's simply because I don't know if there's anybody hiding in there.
Oh,
I'm not scared of ghosts. I'm afraid of people. Get some weird.
Well, that's it.
I'm by myself.
You don't need to be scared of the dead. It's the living you need to fear, whatever the saying is. But see, we don't have anything like that here. Tunnels like that. We've got tunnels, but no. I would love to just take a torch and have a wander down that and see where I ended up. I've been with Sam from the start, and I can't remember first video. Well, that's it.
Oh, Mark.
You can have words with Mark later on. That's shameful, Mark. Shameful.
Shameful.
But I think you've done that many that you just, you lose track. I think it might have been the ones. I'm probably wrong. I'm going to have to look back now.
That's okay.
I'll need to look back after the show. I'm not used to getting asked questions on this show. You know what I mean? But there's 2 or 3 particular videos that I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
The first one was Clapham Woods.
Right. Yes.
I watched that. I found that I watched that 2 or 3 times, I think. It dates back to the Bronze Age. Well,
It's Bronze Age and Neolithic. There wasn't a settlement where the woods are, but there is a settlement very close by. And with all the roads that are going around it, and because of its location, kind of top of the hill, just a little bit, it is suggested, it's not confirmed because there's no proof, but it is suggested that it could have been used as a cult site, religious site back then. I heard the rumors about it, and I know that people said, "Oh my God, don't go alone," and things like that. I said, right. And then I go online and I see people says, "Oh, I haven't seen anything strange. Oh, I got stomachache when I got in. Oh, with bluebells, it's beautiful." And it's so much conflicting information. So I said, right, I'm going to go and have a look. It is, I don't know if it is the season. So, it's kind of very dry. There are no leaves. There's no color to it. I was more concerned about the people that I could have found them than actually the woods. I did not get anything physical. I did not get any stomach aches. I did not get any headaches. I usually feel when there's negative energy around. I can sense it, but I couldn't sense it there. So a couple of things that did get my attention. First of all, my audio went strange at some point. There's a top of the range microphone, and it started crackling. And it started crackling after I went past the archway with the fairy thing going. I'm not quite sure what it was. I think it could have been. It is man-made. I can tell that it's man-made.
Aye, it looks like a fairy door.
Yeah, and the tree's got a little fairy door, but it has something inside, and I don't know what that is. I don't know. But my phone started playing up after that, and I did go with an EMF. We do use EMF in the paranormal investigations we do with the paranormal investigation around here, which is Spirit Chasers. And I know they do not go off as often as people think they do. That's because whenever you watch a YouTube video and you have all these teams investigating, of course they give you the highlights. So, oh my God, it's going off again. That cannot be real. But I had everything off. I had airplane mode. I had Wi-Fi off. Otherwise, it would have lit up like a Christmas tree. And there was nothing there, nothing that got close to it. So that's okay. I felt a little bit of unease because you could tell that it was man-made. So someone went, it looked like kind of like a ritualistic place. It was very odd. And the microphone started playing up. And then I went to the tree that they call the altar tree. And looking at resources, is apparently where all the supernatural stuff comes in from. And for me, even to have that, green dot, the second green dot lighting up in the only place where it would light up, because I did have my EMF on as I was filming around as well. It was really strange.
See, I noticed that, obviously we use the same meter. And that's the other thing I liked about your channel, Sam, and the way you do your videos. If you get nothing, you say, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Simple as. You do get teams out there that will go and they'll get nothing, but they'll invent, what was that noise? Or, they'll invent something, basically.
If I hear a noise, I hear a noise. And the people said, oh, I didn't hear anything. Well, then you're deaf because
I heard it,
Because I heard it. Like the metallic noise when I went to the Screaming Woods, it was behind the tree, literally just behind me. It sounded like a leg trap. And there was nothing, there was no one there. And you can't tell me there is a fox that is screaming. It sounds like a metallic sound because it sounds like a leg trap.
See, we've all had it. We've had, it's a place you hear loud and cutting we do. And I went with Craig one night, Laura's husband, to investigate. and we were down the back end of it. It's not a big Kirkyard, but you know, it's an average size, if you want to say that. And there was all him and I there, and we heard what sounded like a metallic sound, a clank, click, whatever you want to call it. And the two of us heard it, and we went having a look about, but there was nothing. It was just trees, bushes, headstones. You know, there was nothing that could have made that sound. But we know we heard it. You know, so we do. You know yourself, you can go and you can hear sounds. It's happened to us many times, and you do try and debunk it. Yeah. But sometimes you think, well, there's not a thing here that could have made that noise, but I know, or we know what we heard. And that's what I like about that, the altar tree. It's a spooky looking tree, by the way.
Yeah, it wasn't it? Beautiful, absolutely magnificent, but creepy.
It's with something to a horrific. You just imagine darkness with the mist all surrounding it and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, and they took a shot on the side as well, so you can see how big it was. Because you can see in the picture, so well, that isn't that big. And then when you put a person next to it, because I filmed myself from a side with the camera and the EMF reader, just to see the size of it compared to me. I'm not tiny.
I'm not gifted with height. There's so much noise when you're in a wood or outdoor location, it can be difficult to discern anything out. It can be, because, you know.
It can be, but I was at Clapham Wood and you cannot hear a sound. You can only hear the birds. I heard one sound that I could not recognize, and it was not on camera. And this is when my microphone started glitching, so I cannot hear it in the background. But I felt that something. I said, well, that's something like maybe a branch dropping. It is a sound that I recognize. Is when I do not recognize the sounds, it's...
when the sound doesn't fit in with the location.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, as I say, that Loud and Cut one, it was a metallic clank or clink, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But we knew that it didn't fit in, because this Kirkyard is just surrounded by fields, basically. There's nothing running about, but it was right over to our right-hand side, and it was near us, but there was nothing that, it just didn't fit with the place. But obviously, look at the photograph. We took, some years ago now, a photograph. One of the many photographs we took of Loud and Cut, it was a Celtic cross sticking out the ground, big stone Celtic cross. And I was using my phone, and I was taking photographs, and I looked at one photograph, and peeking out from behind this cross was a young girl, I'd say maybe 10, 12 years old, black hair. Now, there was 8 or 9 years there, and everybody's seen this photograph at the same time, and they all says, see that wee girl? Also, when we looked, there was nobody there.
No.
When we went home, I looked through the photographs again, and she was gone.
Right.
And I said to her, how can she be gone? And so I put the photograph in your chat. I says, there's a photograph there. And she's not there. And I've spoken to other people about it. You know, we just cannot explain it. But if it'd just been me seeing it, they could say, well, maybe. But there was 8 or 9 people seeing it at the same time. And she just vanished for the photo. It sounds totally bizarre, I know, but we can't explain it.
Well, when I went to Italy in February last year, we done 2 videos there. We done the one in the Etruscan City of the Dead, and we done one at the Village of Witches, which is the Salem of Europe. And when we went to the Etruscan City of the Dead, I don't know if you watched that video, but this is where I'm convinced we got photographic evidence, because me and my sister, we went in one of the tombs, and we went down, and there were 3 chambers, 2 on a side and 1 straight ahead. And on the one on the right, literally, you can feel that there's a pool. Something draws your attention. And I saw 2 figures standing, and she saw one white moving from left to right, from right to left. We ran away because I thought that either there's someone in there or there's mannequins in there, and someone has put mannequins in there and the light has gone off and we can't see what's in there. And we found this guy, bless him, who is a journalist, total skeptic, right? And him and a group of people that started following us because they heard what we said. We all went down there and we all saw it. And when we took a picture, there's one that looks like a hooded figure moving this side. I will send you the picture later. You can see the hooded figure moving on this side. At the bottom, a skeleton face. And we went in with cameras. We went in with everything. And even the guy said, I'm total skeptic. I don't know what I saw. So there's definitely something there. I can't explain it.
You just don't know. A couple of comments I'll stick up in a wee second, but it's when you get something like that or you hear something. There's a team in Glasgow we work with called SPIG, Scottish Paranormal Investigation Group, and they've got they do. It's an old building, but we were all in there one night, and there must have been about 10 or something, and we all came out I think it was the gymnasium, or one of the gymnasiums, and it takes you in a wee narrow corridor, and we heard heard a young girl saying it was either hello or hi or hello. Everybody heard it at the same time, and everybody turned round to see, but there was nobody there. But it was definitely a young girl saying it was either hi or hello. I say everybody heard it. Now, as I say, if there's only one person here, maybe I'm hearing things, but when you get a collective group of people, and they hear the same thing at the same time, and they all look in the same direction, and there was just one word, but that was it. Also, there was an estate we did 3 years ago called, it was an old abandoned mansion, but there's in the centre of the mansion, it was the old lift shaft that's totally destroyed now, but we got a clear EVP of a mechanical sound. There's nothing in the building, no power, no nothing. It's just a shell. But when we're listening back, in the background, it goes on for about 10 or 12 seconds. It's a mechanical sound. And it sounds like a lift, because at the end of it, there's a ping.
Right.
The old ping used to get with the old lifts. That's what it sounded. I'm not saying it was, but there was nothing. I mean, there's nothing around this house. It's 280 acres of land it sits in. This house is barely in the middle. So that was really, really weird. We thought we picked up some of the audio. No, Kirk Campbell later, I could tell, was just a distant reversing HCV beeping. You get that, but, it can be real voices as Dave Torwood and Hales Castle heard by. As when you get some of that and everybody hears it, then that's hard to debunk, for want of a better word. But I mean, the Clapham Woods, what I found strange about it was the tree, obviously.
Yes. Yeah. For me, it was the fact that it was that tree, that I tried somewhere else and nothing worked. I went all around the tree, top to bottom, bottom to top, nothing. It was just there. And I know that people say, sometimes you carry electromagnetic forces, it comes from the earth and things like that. But it was just there. It doesn't make sense. If it was on the tree, it would have been everywhere around the tree. And I didn't put it on the tree, it was just close by. I didn't actually touch the tree with the K2. But it lit up. It was a tiny little bit, but
I've seen this before as well, Sam. As I say, I watched the video, and as you say, you didn't have it on the tree, and it was just that one particular spot, and you get, it was the green light flickered on and then back off again. But
it lasted just a half a minute. It didn't last any, it just flashed a couple of times and that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, some people say, that was crap, wasn't a result or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it is a result because something made that meter light up, and it wasn't your phone because your phone was in flight mode.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I put it closed on purpose, right? I said, you see, I put it closed, there's nothing. It does not set you off unless it touches something. When you bang on something, the meter does flash the second light. But I wasn't touching anything, so.
I found out. The other thing I found weird was in the 1960s, things started to happen. No, I mean, the
Yeah.
tree is what, hundreds of years old. You
Yeah.
know, the whole area,
Yeah.
as we say, goes back to Bronze Age. But it was like there was 4 people found dead
Yeah.
in mysterious
Indeed,
circumstances.
there were. Yeah. They were
Dogs
found after
disappearing.
years. They weren't easy to find either. They were hidden in the most remote corners of the forest. So it was difficult. They were difficult to find.
And
So one of them was found, and they were all found within the forest. Some were found a little bit further out.
mhm.
But yeah,
It's just weird, you know. See, the forest itself, hundreds of years old, probably, maybe thousands, whatever. But you try, I can ask yourself, did something happen, you know, in the 1960s, early 60s to kick this
Yeah.
activity, or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it? I know there was a couple of UFO sightings as well.
Mhm.
But the animals just the dogs disappearing, people
Yeah.
being found dead.
Yeah.
Why would 1960s be so significant when you think of the age? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, do you know if anything happened around about the 1960s that could maybe?
I don't know. They were talking about. I think I mentioned that cult. There are books that some people also mentioned in the comments that I know about. Again, they have been debunked. I think it's not 100% sure. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Now, I do not believe in coincidences. So if 4 people got missing, mind you, the 60s was I think the 60s was the UFOs. So they started claiming that there were UFOs in the area. And it was the 60s, right? The man on the moon and things like that. So I think it was just, oh, we see lights in the woods. Is the UFOs.
I know it was something else causing the lights in the woods.
Yeah. It could have been easily something else in the woods. And the disappearances went on from 1972 to 1981. And the reason why that dying even together. So I don't know. I don't think we'll never know what really went on.
Was it a dumping ground for 60s gangs like the Craze?
No, I don't think so. The Craze were in Essex, weren't they? Essex, London,
They
East
were in
London.
the
East London. Yeah,
area.
they were in EastEnders.
The other things with that forest is you see was forgot the word. A lady had been spotted.
Was that?
A woman that had been spotted. Am I thinking of the same one?
The woman in white.
The woman in white. Aye.
Right.
Is there any origins to her? Do you know?
No, they just said that she has been spotted. You get the white mist and the swirling lights and all the stuff that most haunted forests have.
They
So
see
I
me
was
sort
kind
of
of looking around. The only time I saw a white mist, and I actually captured it on camera, actually twice I got it, it was at Pendle Hill. Because I went on Pendle Hill and I was walking and I actually saw my own eyes and the camera did spot it. It was like a white cloud moving from right to left.
See, we covered
That's the only time I saw a white mist that wasn't supposed to be there.
See, we covered Pendle a couple of years ago now with Simon Entwistle and Danny Moss and Karen Perkins and all. We have covered, we've done Forgotten Pendle as well. It's a fascinating story, the Pendle Witch Trials. It is, and I watched your video on it as well. It's what I think. You know the other witch trials in Britain, obviously, in the UK, but Pendle Hill seems to be the one that has captured everybody because it's very similar to Salem as well. The Salem witch trials. Laura's saying, like Overton Bridge, Stock seem to have a pull at this bridge. You jump to their death will survive. The majority plunge to their death there. Why is it? That is, it's a bridge that it seems something happens to dogs and they seem to jump over the side.
Oh,
It's a strange one, you know.
Clapham.
Truly baffling as the stories are not all verified. You also said there was a
Exactly.
sense of being watched.
I didn't quite get it there. That's what I found really strange, right? I went to the Screaming Woods. In the Screaming Woods, the stories are not real. And I felt worse there than I felt in Clapham Wood. I didn't feel watched. I didn't feel it just felt okay to me. I said the only
Mm-hmm.
thing that kind of like made me a little anxious, and I think is a psychological thing rather than actually an energy thing, was that man-made archway with the ferry door and the stuff inside that I didn't know was there. That
Because
really freaked me out.
you do wonder about these things, you know, who was it that made it, who took the time to make it, what was the reason for
Well,
the
I've been looking online, and it says that when you find man-made archways and things like that, usually are set up by cults to let them know that they're doing something there.
Mm-hmm.
So that could corroborate the existence of a cult that goes there at some point during the year, or things like that, or people that know these things and they do it on purpose. I unless they're caught in the act, you can't tell. I don't know.
We came across some strange things in your time, and you can tell they're man-made, they've been put there,
Oh, you
and
can tell it's obvious that they're
you know,
man-made. There's no frigging way that someone can do something like that nature can do something like that naturally. You can sense it that is man-made.
and you wonder why,
It
you know.
feels like a ritualistic site. I didn't find any proof of rituals being done around there, but that just felt off.
But see, that's the other thing I like with your videos. You give such a good rundown of the history,
Mm,
but you never ever state anything's paranormal.
no, I
You
try,
never
well,
say,
unless it's
you know,
clear. Yeah,
you always, which we like, you always say, you know, from what I've heard or legend says or it's been reported, you know, you never say this is what happened, and
because it isn't. It isn't true.
that's it. Unless I
It
mean,
is stories.
you get people out there that will, well, this is what happened because you know we were told, and this is real, and all the rest of it, and you know it's all hearsay, you know,
No,
and so your best thing will is a thing I like to use quite a lot is, you know, to the best of your knowledge,
exactly. Yeah,
this is what happened, or this is
yeah.
what was said, or whenever. Local woods, there's a clearing with an altar made from stones and markings on the trees. It's man-made. Um, we come on now. You need to tell the story of the circle, the vaults in Edinburgh. That there's a
Oh, I've
team.
been. Oh, I've been on a vault in Edinburgh. I got a story for you too, if you want to hear it.
I will want to hear it. What vaults was it before?
I went to. We were there. Me and my daughter were there in April, and we went to Greyfriars Kirkyard, did a video there, and we went to the vaults, and we could not film there. Um, and we went down in the vaults with a group, and the guy was saying, right, this is where down there is the vault where they used to do rituals, and they still do, but they changed the vault because that was too dark and they moved it somewhere else. Okay, so the second one, nothing has been reported. The third one is the one with the big activity, right? The first one is closed, so there's a gate, and we go into the second one. And as soon as I entered that vault, I felt like all the air out of my lungs was pulled out. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like I was choking. I said to my daughter, wow. I felt like huge pressure on my chest, and I felt like gasping for air. Okay, I'm not going to mention it just yet. I'm going to see what happened in this vault. And the guy was saying, well, nothing really happened there, blah, blah, blah. And we go in the second vault, and the guy said, well, here people have felt like huge pressure on the chest and like they were gasping for air. I said, I haven't felt it here. I felt it in the other one.
You were a room too early.
Oh, I think that a ghost might have moved to a different cave.
But it is strange that what you experienced, what the guy says, all right, it was the wrong room, but you still experienced it before you'd heard about it. It's not if you'd read about it online or he mentioned it earlier on, before you found out about it.
And I said to my daughter, what did I tell you? What did I tell you when we were in there? I told you there was something else.
The vaults we've done Niddry Street South vaults. Sarah and I did a tour, if you call that, the Blair Street vaults, a couple of years ago for her birthday. Wasn't that great? That's the one where Mr. Boots is allegedly to hang about. But the one that Laura and Eileen's talk about is Niddry Street vaults, and there's a stone circle in it.
No.
And there's a team that we used to be friendly with some of them. They investigated it maybe, I don't know, Laura, about a year and a half ago, they went. Laura will be able to tell me better because my memory's crap. But they did this, shall we say, medium there, well, the two mediums there, and one was going on. One was in one of the rooms saying, oh, there's babies buried in the wall and there's cattle in this room and all the rest of it. But the other one went into the stone circle room. Right. And she was pacing back and forward and saying, oh, there's fire and there's sacrifice and I can't get near that circle and it's evil and all the rest of it. So I spoke to James Gustafson, who Laura, we're quite friendly with, so's Eileen. He runs the Niddry Street South vaults. So I was saying to him, what's the story with the stone circle and the vaults? And he says that circle was put there in 1984. He says we were doing work in the other vaults and we'd left over stones. And they says to the guy in the other vaults, do you want these stones? And he says, aye, I'll put it. So he made a circle in the room. The circle is manufactured set for two. That's basic. But this team, this medium was going way over the top. There's fire here, sacrifice and babies and everything was coming out of that circle. It was just all spouting out, do you know what I mean? And then you find out the story behind it, and that's, there's that many fake, crap in the paranormal these days. It's just about the vaults. I'm glad Laura brought that up. That's just a classic one about the vaults.
But it's the same thing when I went to the Screaming Woods, which is just outside Pluckley. So, Pluckley, one of the possible most haunted villages in Britain. And I remember mentioning it to someone, and she says to me, oh, the stories of the 4 college students. And I look at it, it's fake. What story? There's no story, man. They made it up on the internet, and they put it out there. It's a creepypasta. It's nothing else. And people are taking that as real, and it's fake. It does say Facebook at the bottom. It's not real. It's screaming and shouting. It's not real.
It's the same as you've heard the Mackenzie Poltergeist.
Yes, of course. I've been to Greyfriars, yeah.
We were in the Banshee, we hear tours in the stone rooms, and we had messed with them about a year ago. We did that. Well, the Mackenzie Poltergeist, I don't know if you know the origins of the story or not.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
It was made up by Jan Henderson for Jan Henderson owns City of the Dead Tours. He wrote a book about all the attacks in the Covenanters called The Ghost That Haunted Itself. Right. And he had to come up with a name, for this entity, because it is real what's happened in the Covenanters. And so he decided, I need to come up with a name.
It's closed. I couldn't go in there. Oh,
no,
I was so
you can only get in on arranged tours.
No.
Because there was that many instances, attacks in it, the Edinburgh City Council just says, you know what?
Wow.
Let's just lock it. So you can only get in through City of the Dead tours now. We're lucky enough that we're quite friendly with Jamie, who manages City of the Dead tours, and we've been in the Covenanters quite a few times. But no, that's where the Mackenzie Poltergeist came from. Jan Henderson made the name up to stick in his book. And the amount of people that went into Greyfriars and says, I've been pushed by the Mackenzie Poltergeist. I've been attacked by the Mackenzie. We picked up the Mackenzie thing. It's not real. He's
No,
not.
I went there. I didn't feel absolutely anything. It was beautiful to look at, beautiful to wander around, and I was so drawn to the Covenanters prison, which I couldn't go in. Um, but nah, there was nothing there.
There's got we
It's a great
invest.
story, though.
It is. It's a fantastic story. I mean, what happened in the Covenanters did happen. There's 3,000 documented reports of attacks. 1 month alone,
Mm,
there were
wow,
ambulances, and that's when the council. I think that's what tipped the balance. That's when the council says, enough's enough. We're locking
wow.
the gates. But I mean, we've investigated the Kirkyard before we found out that you're actually not allowed to, and we
No.
get nothing.
Mm,
And it is reported to be the most haunted Kirkyard in the world. But I tell you, one night we were investigating, Sarah felt a heat. We were in front of Mackenzie tomb, and she felt this heat coming towards it. I stood in front of her, and it disappeared. Now, this was, I don't know, 11, 12 o'clock at night, something like that.
hmm
And it was Scotland, so it wasn't warm, but there was a certain heat, and we thought it was a male standing there. But you're talking about seconds, Sam, and it was gone. But we've investigated there, and we picked nothing up. I'm
No,
not saying
I didn't feel anything.
it is
I found it fascinating. I went there at night. I went there during the day, and I absolutely loved it because it has character, but there's
big.
nothing there. Yeah.
It's just that we love Greyfriars. We've done a lot in Greyfriars, and see when you think of the history of the place, the estimation is about 500,000 bodies are buried there.
Yes, yeah.
And that's a
I
lot.
heard the story. I absolutely love it.
And it doesn't matter where you walk in Greyfriars, you're walking over bodies.
Yeah, yeah.
You just can't help it. It's whether it's a
No,
path or grass. And we've been in there many times with Eileen as well. We've been in with Eileen as well, and it's a place that you can go to over and over and again, and
yeah,
it never gets boring.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Jamie, he's worked there for 15 years or so, 15, 16 years probably,
Wow.
and he loves it. He's there every 5 or 6, 7 days. He's there a lot. It's a I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's a hill. It's a hill built on bodies. Yeah,
That's basically what it is. When it first started out, it was flat. You remember the gate at the bottom end? That was the original
yeah.
level of it. And so it just shows you, how many people are there. But moving on with your videos, Eddington.
Eddington, I actually had to rewatch that because oh my gosh, that feels like a lifetime ago. Yes, so is a church that looks like a cathedral, and there was a murder on a hill right in front of them, which was the murder of William Ayscough, which was the Archbishop of Salisbury, if I remember properly. It was during the time of Jack Cade. He was running away because he was afraid of the mob, and the mob was waiting for him
I mind you
at
saying
the
that.
cathedral while he was celebrating Mass for St. Paul and St. Peter's. Now, he was running away from London, trying to go probably to Salisbury or further down. And 400 odd people were waiting for him, and they dragged him up to the hill, drawn quartered, and possibly buried on top of the hill. Now, in the cemetery, there is a wall. So there is a wall that surrounds the cemetery, and on top of the wall, there's something very unusual, and for me, is unique. I don't know if there is another one in the country, and it is a stone coffin on top of the wall, just placed there.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know what's in there. It could be William Ayscough. It could be, I think as James said, that someone said to him it was a
A
monkey.
monkey. I remember him saying, it could be a monkey. I was like, what? What?
What? A monkey? Or it could have been someone that could not be buried on consecrated grounds for whatever reasons. Now, because of the year, I think it was 1450, which was the same year when Ayscough was murdered. Again, we don't know what's in there. but it could be his grave. So, you know.
It's very, when I was watching it, I mean, I thought it was quite ironic that the guy, he fled London because he was scared of the mobs.
He was scared of being killed by a mob, and he got killed by a mob.
And he ran, more or less ran right into a mob when he got to Eddington. They were, they were all lined up waiting on him. So I thought that's a bit of a bummer, that, But when I was watching the video and I was looking at the wall, at first I thought it was just a bit of stone. But then when you turn the camera, you move the camera around, you can see, and I see that at Sarah, because we've been in quite a lot of graveyards, also saying yourself, we've never seen anything like that.
No.
Why would they put a stone coffin on top of a wall? The other interesting thing that I remember you saying was that it was kind of half and half.
It's
half
a half
consecrated
and half,
ground.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
I thought, that's weird, is it? And I thought maybe it is this guy, Acecroft, and maybe at the time the village was divided as to whether he deserved a Christian burial or not.
Exactly.
And so to settle an argument, they maybe came up with the idea, right, we'll put them half and half.
So the major problem with Acecroft is that he was very close to Henry VI. And Henry VI was not a very popular monarch at the time. Acecroft was a little bit ambitious. So instead of looking after his parishioners or spending time in Salisbury Cathedral, where he should have been, he was at court with the king all the time. So I think he just gotten, people just got furious with him. And when Jacquard started his revolution and everything, it just blew out of proportions. So maybe they did think that it was not worthy of burial within the church grounds, putting it on a wall. Yeah, maybe.
But I usually strict guidelines on burials in consecrated ground, which is totally correct. But putting them on the wall, so technically people could have argued back then.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is the case. This is just what I was thinking when I was watching it. People could actually argue back then, well, do you know what? He's not technically in the graveyard.
Yeah.
He's on top of a wall.
Yeah.
Part of it is on the consecrated side. Mark saying, I thought the coffin was placed there to appease the church.
Appease the church, that's possible, yeah.
It's just a very, very strange
It's unique. It's unique. And I saw it, and the size isn't that great, that isn't that big. So if they put something in there, and if it was really drawn and quartered, then he wasn't a full man in there. They just
they would just
pop it in and put it there.
They would just pour them in, basically, wouldn't it? That's bad, isn't it?
But they can tell because there's that theory, and the other theory is that it's buried on top of the hill where it was killed, and you can actually see the church and everything from up there. So
there's nobody. Markers or anything up there?
No.
So it possibly is he could have been put in an unmarked grave then.
Yeah.
Because
there's no grave whatsoever. So for me, that, again, is a presupposition. So I don't know.
So what did you hear in the church? Because you were in the church with...
Right. It was me hearing that.
And I thought, has she heard something?
I thought I saw something behind me. And I think it was a reflection of the light coming through the window. But James, which is the James Walks in History I did the video with, he said that he doesn't believe in stuff like this, but he was there with his wife one day, and it was all very silent. As you can see, there's no one in the church, right? It is completely deserted during the day. And there is the grave of the 5 children, as I call it, the grave of the 5 children. So it's the big family, local family. They actually had tombs everywhere. They had one there, they had someone there, someone there. And the children, even if most of them died in adult age, they're all depicted as children. And he went there with his wife, and he heard knocking from coming from.
I heard tapping.
Yeah.
And he couldn't explain where it came from.
Yeah. So I went back and I did a short on that. So, right, I'm back here and I got to see if I can hear anything. And I spent some time there, but I couldn't hear anything.
So again, that's, as I said earlier on, that's why I like with your videos, because if you don't hear anything, you turn and say, look,
Yeah.
I've got nothing. There's nothing here.
I didn't hear anything. Nope.
I'm going to head off.
I could have not published the short, right? If I wanted people to think that there was something there, because James does tell the story in the video. I could have just left it, but I went there. I see if there was something. There was nothing. Like, there's nothing.
Because your curiosity gets the better of you.
So, yeah.
You know, you hear the stories and you think, well, I want to believe this guy, but the other side of the coin is it could be just made up, you know. It's like the Ivy House. I don't know if you've heard of the Ivy House down near Warrington.
No.
It's called the Ivy House, the Demon House, or the Screaming House as well. Well, many teams have done it, and it's been on TV as well. But there's meant to be, you know, you can hear the story is that it was a doctor that lived in the house with his family, and he murdered his wife in the bathtub, and he chopped her up into bits and stuff like that. But footsteps have been heard and bodies getting dragged and stuff. So we went down. It was a bit of a drive, mind you, but we did it. We did it a couple of years ago with our two teams, and we investigated it, and we get nothing.
No.
You know, it was a long way to go, but we were curious. I want to do this place because we've heard so much about it. So
but there are places like that, right? Because for example, I went to Australia and I've done 3 haunted locations while I was there, and I didn't video all of them. We went to the old Adelaide Gaol, or jail, so called. And I did the paranormal investigation there. It wasn't a very long one, but it's supposed to be super haunted, and we had nothing. We just heard a thud, right? It was 5 of us. Everything is in the dark, and you hear bang. And that's the only thing that happened. K2s didn't go off, cat balls didn't go off, nothing went off, absolutely anything. I guess that sometimes it also depends on the day, on your energy, I think.
There's 101 things you come into. We've done, you know, as you have as well, an island, the chat, etc. You can go to a place. We've always found, I mean, it sounds big-headed, it's no meant to, but we've always been quite lucky because we tend to go to places that haven't been investigated. Right, Laura's good. Thanks for a great live. Great to meet you, Sam. Hopefully you're back on and I can be on. And Laura's lost her hearing. She's down with the cold and that last week, so her hearing's kind of went pop. She's coming here tomorrow, so she'll be away. She'll be heading to bed now. She'll watch the rest of it. I'll make sure she does, Sam. Don't you worry. I'll make sure she watches the rest of it. Night, dog.
All right. Night.
We've always tended to go to places that have. Don't get me wrong. We've done Greyfriars. We've done a couple of locations that are, you know, famous, if you want to call it that, whatever, and we've got nothing. But we find that if you go to unknown locations, like say Loudon Kirk here, it's in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't sit anywhere near main roads or anything like that. It's in the middle of a load of fields and stuff. And it's just a small kirkyard tucked out the way. Island's coming over next month to investigate ways at the Highland Paranormal. But the amount of activity we've heard there is unbelievable. It's on their Facebook page, what have you. And same as what Laura said earlier on about Caldwell. Before we investigated it, we couldn't find any evidence that other people had been in. They'd been explorers into it, you know. We found plenty of videos of explorers getting in and having a look about, but we couldn't find any paranormal teams. I'm not saying it hadn't been done. We just couldn't find them, and we get tons of it. We spent about 2 months at Caldwell just investigating. Do you find sort of the unknown places or the sort of less known places tend to give you more activity?
I think so. I don't know why, but I think so.
Well, I've got a theory, you know, and I've said to quite a few people with my theory is that, you know, if there is spirit there, there's no been spoke to before, want a better
Right.
word.
Oh,
And
they can't wait to get the word out.
here's somebody wants to talk to me. I'm going
Hmm.
to say hello to them. You know, Bob's your uncle. It might just
Yeah,
be as simple as that.
maybe.
Because,
Yeah.
see, we've done a few of them and they've not been big known locations, been small, and we've had loads of activity. So maybe it's a case of nobody's wanted to talk to them and knew somebody. At the end of the day, I think all Spirit wants is to be acknowledged that they are still here in
Right.
some
Yeah.
form, that
Yes,
they're
I think
still
so.
around,
Yeah.
and they just want to basically say, hi, I'm
Yeah.
still here. Say hello to me, basically. But the last one I want to come to is I've been saving this for last. The Salem of Europe.
Oh, that was amazing.
That's what I've
Um,
been saving this one. So I watched that
yeah,
today.
yeah. It was a very long drive to get there up
Three
in
and
the
a half hours.
mountains. Yeah, it was in the middle of nowhere, up in the mountains near the Alps. And we got there, I think it was 11:30, and there wasn't a soul around. So me and my sister, we just packed the car. It's a very, very old village. I just perched on top of the hill. And it, it is very strange, the feeling that you get. I can't believe that there wasn't one soul around at 11:30. We were walking and we got near the church and it rang midnight. And it rang midnight twice.
It's
I
funny.
was like, what? So the
How
first
loud?
time I expected it the first time, but the second time it gave me a heart attack.
How loud was that clock?
I don't know. It's just one church where it went off twice. Oh my word. I don't know.
Sarah was sitting here watching, and I actually says to her, I said, "Can you imagine being in your bed at midnight and that thing goes off?"
Well, in
It,
Italy, it's quite normal that clocks go off every hour or so. It is, but there was one church and they both went off. The first time it went off at 12 and the other one at 12:05. And I was like, why?
it's a bit strange. That, it goes off at midnight. Fair enough, it's midnight, but
Yeah,
12:05.
12:05, literally. And there's so the place is famous because it is where the last witches' trials took place and the last witches got killed, even if again is not 100% sure that they were all killed, that they were
Mm-hmm.
all executed. And the reason why they were executed is because being, the 1300s, 1400s, I can't remember what year it was. The witches were living along that path where me and my sister did go in the end, and there's the little cave that they put what do you call it? They put mannequins in and things, and they used to be there. So the area had a famine, so the crops went bad, and people were starving. Children were disappearing. So they said
Mm-hmm.
that the witches were stealing children and doing some stuff with children, little babies. They were throwing babies around like they were balls. I don't believe this is just, this is mass hysteria for sure. Um, Now, the interesting thing is that they said that the woods at the bottom of the hill are really haunted. And it was 12:30 by the time we got there. My sister was really scared because it was really, really eerie. And as we approach the path that leads to the cave where the witches were allegedly living, as I was pointing the camera towards the woods to look down, because haunted wood, these are the haunted woods, let me have a look. A white orb flew right in front of us, and we both saw it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was so gutted that I could not get it on camera because it left us completely speechless. And it was a big white orb, it wasn't a firefly, apart from the fact that it was not firefly season, but it literally just floated and then it disappeared.
That's what happens, but you get things that happen off camera. It's obviously it's
So
happened to you
gutted, so
and
gutted.
countless other people, and it's off kind of think, I wish I'd caught that on camera,
Yeah.
and so you tell people about it, and of course people are, all right, okay, that's great, but they're kind of, well,
Yeah,
you know,
God knows what you saw. It was a light from the camera, light from the phone. It was nothing. It was
you were
pitch
tired,
black.
or it was the moonlight, or
There was
a
a
street
big
light.
white ball right in front of you. You see it, and we both saw it, which is great because at least it was just me. Did you see
It
that?
was
No, I
just
didn't see
you.
it. We both
But I
saw
mean,
it.
the streets themselves,
Yeah.
I found them fascinating.
Mm.
Closed in, and
Yeah.
I've got to
With
say,
that. Yeah.
there's no roofs the way they were built, and you can just imagine it back then, the way life was, and then with the interrogations of the witches and stuff like that. So, what was the witches out? This was a meeting place for them.
So
Right.
they used to gather just outside the walls, which is where the little cave is at the end. It wasn't very well illuminated, and I didn't have any lights with me at the time. But this is where they say that they used to live, just outside. They call it La Cabotina, which means the little house.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's literally just a cave with a little resting place in there, and that's it.
So one time I was watching the video, and one thing I missed. I mean, I actually watched it back for the right. Is it Genoa?
Genova, right?
Geneva. What was the connection between?
Right, so if I remember well, I think so. Genova, it was one of the four sea republics, maritime republics, and I think that because of the commerce that was coming, the commerce in the area, and of the strategic position of the village right on top of the hill, the village itself received the favors from the city, so they had their protection. So when all this stuff with the witches happened, of course they were taken away right away instead of hearing them, and then just took them. Yeah.
So what I mean, as I said, the streets looked amazing. They're very tight, and the way
They're actually quite common in old Italian villages. So if you go just outside, I mean, even what do you call it? If you go to mountain villages and things like that, they kind of all look the same. Even by the coast, there's one place where we used to go as kids. It's very similar. It has this stone bridge, and it has the tiny little streets with the archways at the top and things like that. Yeah, that is beautiful.
So when we talked about earlier on about Edinburgh, when you walk into Greyfriars and stuff, you feel, well, we all feel like you're getting taken back in time. We can sense, and walking up
Yeah, that is exactly the same. Yeah.
Is that how it felt walking about the streets of if it took you back to the, the 14th, 15th century, whatever?
Yeah. And what was worse is that there was no one around, so that added to it. Kind of make it a little nervous. Not because there was no one around. It's the silence in the village does have people living there. There's a police department, so it's not that small. But the fact that there was no one around at 11 o'clock, 11:30.
I was totally deserted.
It was we haven't met one soul. Zero.
Lots of cave dwellers coming to house through areas of Spain and Portugal. I noticed that when you were wandering, there was not one. So even if you'd seen somebody, in a street corner having a cigarette or something, anything, a drunk guy wandering there, there's not a soul.
That is not natural. That's not normal.
You think? Do you know if it's maybe a local belief or something? Don't venture out after a certain time.
I did wonder that. I did wonder.
Or you'll get your sort of, local superstition or something.
It is not an easy place to get to. I know that it's been investigated once, But it's not an easy place to get to. So I don't know.
I mean, you've seen it in films, you know, horror films and stuff like that. People don't go out after dark or
Yeah, maybe.
after
Yeah.
8 o'clock, you know. But maybe it's something like
But
that, you know,
even
maybe.
bars, I mean, there were bars, there were restaurants, everything was shut. And in
It
Italy,
sounds,
restaurants and bars, they stay open until late usually. Everything was closed.
that's it. I mean, it's a popular holiday place. I mean, even, you know,
Mm,
I've been to Spain many times, the Canary Islands, and the bars and all that are open till,
yeah.
you know, whenever. Some of them never ever shut. I know these wee villages, life's a lot quieter, but there is still life there.
Yeah, it was very eerie. Yeah.
You know, there's still people wandering about. But I would say that was the last location, but it's not really, because I forgot about another two that I wanted to speak to you about,
Oh, okay.
if that's all right, Bill.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
M.R. James.
Yeah, I love Emma James. Absolutely love it.
What's the,
I
what's this?
I
So,
wanted to do the video the year before. Imagine that. And I thought that I wasn't going to do it any justice if I did it then. So I postponed it to this year. So Emma James, oh gosh. So Emma James, it was, a dean at Eton College, and he was a very serious person and all that, but he wrote ghost stories.
mm-hmm,
And as a last story, I mean, everybody knew that he read his stories on Christmas Eve to his friends, candlelight with the fire on and all that stuff. But the last story that he ever wrote is called A Vignette, and is not well known. It is unusual. It is very short. I think it's 2.5 pages. I read that literally in 5 minutes. It's 2.5 pages, and according to sources and his biographer and things like that, they think that it is a real experience that Monty James had when he was a child back
mm-hmm.
in Norfolk, when I went all the way down there. And he was coming back from a puppet show. It was a Punch and Judy. He met another villager, so they walked together, and it was coming in from the back of the house where there was a gate, and he was sure that he saw a figure there. He found a way inside the house, and then he tried to forget it, but then the next day he looked from a window at the back of the house down towards the gate, and he saw a figure again peeping through the gate.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know what it was. He said he didn't want to tell his nanny, because his nanny, if he told someone about it, a grown up about it, they would have said, "Oh, you're just imagining things." But yeah, the general consensus is that experience that he had was a real one, and that he, what do you call it? And that's kind of like pushed him to. Not pushed him, but he helped with the ghost stories growing up. It was his way of dealing with things. He also started doing something really strange. I found really strange, which was touring Europe on his bicycle, going in churches, which
Right.
is very strange. Monty James did say that he did not. He kind of hinted that that was his personal experience. It was like signing off, and that because of his position within Cambridge and Eton, he couldn't go and tell people, "Hey, I saw a ghost when I was 5."
Because it would just be,
It
go away.
would just be dismissed, right? So that was his confession before dying, and that was published posthumously.
I
I
found
find it
that.
really very, very interesting. Now, I couldn't get to the gate when I was there because it was flooded. So I will have to make my way back and see what's at the
You need
gate.
to walk.
Yeah,
because you
I
asked
need to
for
walk
it.
back.
You need to look back. I would probably comment on a local missing legend can have effect on behaviours. That's what I'm saying about, there not been any sign of life. Maybe it is local
Yeah,
missing legends. And these people, you know yourself, some sort of, I'm just surmising, a secluded village, they don't get out of the village very much. So they basically grew up their whole life in
yeah,
that village and they've had these missing legends. Not drummed into them, but it's been a way of life for them and they've grown to sort of
yeah.
believe that. So the last place I wanted to talk to you about was what I'm going to get his name wrong. The Wardour Castle.
Right, yes. Right, Wardour Castle.
Wardour, is that right? Is that
Yes,
right?
yes. Yeah, the Castle of the Lovels, which
Mm-hmm.
is the same Lovels of Minster Lovel on the other side. I was there with Emma from Weird Wiltshire. And yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the feeling that you get is really strange in places. I actually was there by myself at some point because I was waiting for Emma to come, and she was late, and I was really early, so it was kind of like I had all this time. But apparently, there have been sightings around there. Um, uh, Sightings in the rooms, sightings in the little cottages just outside. Yeah, interesting
It's,
place.
so how do you? I'm conscious of the time though. How do you choose your locations? Because you've been to that many, and they seem to be just everywhere. But how do you go about choosing your
Um,
location?
I don't know. Sometimes I go, right, where am I going? Oh, I want to go to Northamptonshire, like Naseby. Someone actually suggested Naseby to me, but I wanted to go to Northamptonshire because I haven't been in a while. And I thought, you know what? Someone suggested Naseby. Let me go to Naseby.
You just,
Some people, I do get suggestions as well. Sometimes I just look around. It's not easy though. It's not that simple just to find them. It takes me more time to look for the locations than everything else, probably.
I see. We've spoken about this on shows before. People, no disrespect, no harm them, but people maybe watch your YouTube videos or watch, investigations, whatever. They watch it and think, you just go straight to a place and that's it. They don't appreciate what goes on behind the scenes, kind
Mm,
of thing. I mean, it sounds like Hollywood now, but you know what I mean.
yeah.
It's like you were saying earlier on about your editing. Your videos are average between, I think, about 10, 15, 20 minutes each video, which is quite a good idea as well. That's the other thing. Because we're doing what we're calling the Wallace Trail. We're doing it with Society of William Wallace. And
Right.
when we first put it together, we were going to make it 45 minutes to an hour. But then Sarah has suggested, well, people aren't going to sit for that long
No.
and watch it. And
No.
so our episodes average roughly about the same, about 15-minute
Mine are
mark.
about mine are between 8 and 12, possibly. And I know that someone did comment today, said, "Oh, show me your videos are so short," but I don't want to keep them long just for the sake of keeping them long. If for me, as I said, I have a problem. If it doesn't flow for me, and if it doesn't keep my attention, my idea, at least in my head, is that it doesn't keep other people's attentions either. So
Aye.
as long as the video flows in a certain way, if it's too short, it's too short. You got, another 93 to look at if you want to watch.
But the thing is, Mark's saying Lincolnshire is still waiting.
Oh, sorry, Mark. I will. I actually
Uh,
have a couple of locations in Lincolnshire to go and visit.
two long videos, you lose it. That's true. You do,
Yeah.
and that we found. And that's the other thing I like with your videos because they might be short, but there's loads in it.
Yeah.
You've got the
Yeah.
location, you've got the history, you've got a wee bit of paranormal thrown in if there is anything there. And you
I try
really
to keep
do.
them. I do try. I have tried to make some longer ones, and the viewing time is definitely longer. However, it's I don't know. Sometimes if I can bring myself to watch it until the end, I can't expect other people to do that.
You kind of you sort of turn off after 5 or 7 minutes. You think, well, everybody else. But no, I like the length. You know that I'm a critic of anything like that. I'm not saying that, you know. But you every now and again you start watching something. I quite like them.
No,
you know, and that's what caught my eye about yourself. But I'm going to wind it up there because that's nearly an hour and a half we've been on yakking. But I want to bring you back though, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you get so many other videos out there. Sam Walks a Lot is the name of our YouTube channel, folks. You've got so many places, and I've got other questions for you. But I'm conscious
I just love it. I love driving, and I like going to different places. I don't always like the same thing. Again, is probably an attention issue that I have. But
so when are you coming to Ayrshire? That's where we are.
Where?
Ayrshire. It's the west coast of Scotland. Cheers, Eileen.
Thank you, Eileen. I don't know. At the moment, I'm looking at Northumberland and Yorkshire. I've been to Yorkshire before, and I did Whitby, but there are so many places in Yorkshire and Cumbria as well. Oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna spend a whole week up there.
Cumbria is beautiful.
I've been many times, but yeah.
What about the whole island? Lindisfarne, the whole island.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's quite. I've been a few times. Though it sits off the east coast, it's just south of. It's kind of in between Berwick and Tweed and Newcastle. There's a causeway takes you over to it.
Oh, okay.
And there's an old abbey there as well, and a castle as well. There's not much on it, but I love it. It's a fascinating. Sarah wasn't impressed, but the only thing is you need to time it with the tide.
Right.
You know, that being a causeway. The last time we went, I think we'd asked somebody what time the tide came in, and they gave us a time, and it was total crap. So we ended up sleeping in a car park. I think it was for 2 hours or something, wasn't it?
What?
She's got her head plugged. When we went to the whole island, how long were we sleeping in the car park for?
About 3 hours.
About 3 hours, waiting in the tide came back out so we could get back across to the mainland. You know, that's the only thing about it. But I would recommend Lindisfarne. I think you'd find it fascinating.
Okay. Look it up.
It's called the whole island.
Okay.
And the remains of the abbey. It's a beautiful place. But just watch the tide times because you could be stuck there. If you're stuck there overnight, there's not a lot to do though.
That's all right.
I don't even think there's any hotels or B&B.
As long as there's the internet and a book is fine.
I don't know. I can't swear with it. You definitely buy a book, but the internet, I don't know. But we ended up. We just went to a car park, and the three is, you know, Sarah and my daughter, and we just went for a sleep because we'd done the abbey. We'd had a look about, so we'd done everything basically. We thought, well, when does the time go? 3 hours. Right, fine. Sleep time, you know. And then we went done. You know, don't get me wrong. You do get the odd nutter that tries to drive through it. Right. I've seen that. You know, they think because they've got a Range Rover or something, they can drive through the sea. But it's the North Sea. You know. And they think, and you watch them trying it, and then they realise, wait a minute, this wasn't such a good idea. Because you look either side or is the water. There's nothing. But you should try it. But I'll keep a hold of you. Don't disappear. I'll keep a hold of you after we come off for a wee second or two. Okay. That's all right.
Yeah, of course.
So, where can people find you?
Well, the family, all social media. So Sam Walks a Lot on X, Sam Walks a Lot on Facebook, Sam Walks a Lot on Instagram, Sam Walks a Lot on Threads, Sam Walks a Lot on Blue Sky.
Sam just walks a lot.
So just walks a lot. I'm everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then
cheers, Eileen.
Sam Walks a Lot. Good night. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Cheers, Mark, buddy. So. I say, I'll hold on, you just have to come off. So that's it for tonight, folks. That's the end of 4 in a row. We're back next week with Donna Louise. And then we'll get a wee special show a week on Friday with Rigger and I from Rigger from Spig. We've done a lot of shows together. We're doing a show, Hardly Paranormal it's called, where we will be showing clips from YouTube. Now, we're not trying to make ridicule anybody or put anybody down. We're just going to be showing clips that you can see truly are fake, and we're just going to be giving our opinion on them. We're not going to be, it's not a name and shame or anything like that, and we're no experts by any means, but we're going to be doing that next Friday. But you've obviously seen this lady here again, because we've got loads more to talk about.
Yeah,
definitely.
I can't stop talking about. Yeah, I can't stop talking.
Pleasure having her on. I was looking forward to tonight, and
thank you.
We shall see you next week, folks. All right, so take care for now and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.
Bye.